This conference will now be recorded.
So why did we sign up with the GitHub? Because we are going to write some original code in our local system. At the end of the day, we need to save these changes in the GitHub. Why we used GitHub? Because to save our code changes, we need to save not only in local, we need to save somewhere in the cloud. So that's why we have signed up with GitHub account. Okay, there you can store whatever the code that you want to store, and whether what is the version control system that is used in the GitHub? Git is the version control system. Whenever I say version control system, what does a version control system will do? It is going to track all your code changes. Tracking means who edited, what deleted, who edited and what he deleted, and how many new persons have added the new code. All these things you can see. Even if somebody has modified something, you don't want those changes, you can revert it back also. Whenever I say revert it, that means move to the earlier version. Okay, so we'll see now the git commands. So to practice git commands, I will give you a documentation for that. So the documentation itself will be in the internet itself. So by looking into the documentation, you can practice if you want to. So go to Google and then git commands. Bzone is the website name. So if you keep git commands and bzone, it is going to show me the bzone website. So here there are top 20 git commands that everybody uses in the real time. Mostly they are going to use all these 20. So we'll go with the top 20 git commands first. As of now, yesterday what I have done was I have created
Fine, using Linux.
guys hear me right now? Or wait, Maria, can you guys hear me now? So it is still showing me. Not sure. Am I audible now?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Yeah. So looks like there is no lag in between also. You can see my screen also, right?
No.
Just try to see right now.
No, no.
I just shared. Just will wait for. Still it is not. Can we just wait for 5 more minutes? Let's see whether we get the power back again.
Okay, sure.
Sure, thanks. Okay, what can we do with the better? I hope there is no lag right now. If you feel no lag, we can continue like this.
Visible
Yes,
now.
now it's clear. Yeah. Okay. So yesterday we have signed up for a GitHub account, and if you see here, so let me just reload this person account. And yesterday we created an account for this Sanjay, and inside Sanjay's account I have created a repository called Hercules. Okay, And whenever I have added a readme file inside while I was trying to create the repository. Okay, now let's consider like I'm a developer. So as a DevOps person, what they have told me was, do not save anything in your local system. If you want to save, you can store your code in the GitHub. So for that purpose, what I am trying to do is I am going to add a file here. So I want to create a file. So if you want me to go with the code, I will go with the code. But for your better understanding, I'll just go with the normal text for now. After some time, we will replace the normal text with the original code. Okay, so just create a new file. What is the file name? I'm going to keep it as Chennai. I want to write some information in it. This is Chennai. Okay, once I have made my code changes here, let's consider this is the original code like as of now, and this is the file name. And go back here and commit the file. Committing means as of now, understand it like save. Committing means save. So I have created a file called Chennai and I just committed that file. So basically, who created this file? So to which user you have logged in with this user, right? So if you see here, yesterday README file was created and it is showing that it was done on yesterday. And I have just created right now, and it is able to show me the timing as right now. And see here, create Chennai initial commit. What is this? This is a message. What is this message means? It's a custom message. If you want to define your custom message, you can define. So when this person created this particular file, what he has written, this he has written as Chennai, and I am going to edit the file. Click on edit, and I am going to write from Tamil Nadu. This is one more line I just have added, and see this. What is the message? Update Chennai. Instead of this, if I want to write something, I can define something here. So just updated Chennai file. I have just written some custom message. Why I am writing my custom message? Because even after 1 year or even after 2 months or 3 months, if you come and see why this new line is added in this file. So if you write this custom message, then you will be able to understand, okay, so just for updating the file, I have written this. Not only this, you can write anything. It is your custom message and then save the changes. So how many times I have saved my changes in Chennai file? One time or two times? Hmm? It's two times.
Two
First I
times.
created Chennai file, and in the second I have updated the file. So that means how many saves I have done? Two saves, right? So each and every time you make a commit, what happens was a ID will be generated for you. So where I can see the ID. So right now I am inside my Chennai file, right? Go to history. So here I am able to see that first Chennai was created and it was committed in 3 minutes ago. And then I updated the Chennai file 36 seconds ago. So two times I have just made my changes, right? So two times I'm able to get different ID. Why we are getting different ID? Why not a single ID? Let me tell you. If you are playing a game, so in that, if you are playing a game, what happens? There will be checkpoints, right? Even if you lose your life in that, again from the checkpoint onwards, it will start, not from the first. Like the same way, for a particular file, if you are making the file changes, at some point of time, I don't want this change. I want to go back to whatever that is there in the first. So how I can go? I can take this ID and I will revert it back. So this is the latest one, right? 36 seconds ago. So I'll just revert this back. What happens was it will just move to this one. So whatever that is there in the earlier, it is going to show me the earlier changes. This we will do practically. This is just for a theoretical understanding I'm saying. Okay, I'm done with my code. I have just added a Chennai file and I updated a file, and I know that each and every time I commit the changes, I'm going to get an ID for that. Why we are getting the ID? So even if you want to revert from, let's consider there are 100 IDs. In that 100 IDs I want to move to 36th ID. Is it possible? It is possible. So whatever that is there on the 36th, you can move back to that changes. Okay. So as of now I created one file. So is like whether the developer is going to come here and write the code here, whether the developer is going to come here and write all the code files by adding the new file here like this. No, nobody is going to come here and directly add the files here, because if you see here, create a new file, whatever I write, is there any syntax for it? No. If I have Visual Studio, basically what the developers will do, they will open the Visual Studio code and here they will write the code. Why? Because the user interface for them will be very pleasing. So for that purpose, what they do is nobody will come here and directly make the changes here. So in real time, what happens was first they will create a repository for you. So since this I have already used this, right? So I don't want to use it again. I will start with a new one. So go to Sanjay's and I want to, if you go to repositories, I'm able to see one repository here. I want to create a new one. So what is the repository name? I'm going to make it has something like Kia. Just keep it as Kia, public access. So anybody in the internet can see your project. And do you want to add a README file? If you want to add it, you can add it. And I don't want to add anything. So just create the repository. Now see this. I have just created a repository. As a DevOps person, my duty is to create the repository. So I created it. Who will be storing the code in the repository? Developers. How they can store the code? So if developers comes here and just create a new file, add a new file, new folder, that is a big process. Nobody is going to do that. So what they need to do is, as a DevOps engineer, you need to give this URL to them. So copy this URL. Once you copy this, the developers, once you send it to the developer, what they will do is they will use a command called git clone. What do you mean by cloning? It's a copy, right? Cloning means it's a copy. So what they do is, let me check whether we already have Kia folder here. I don't think we have. Okay. Cloning into Kia. So what happens? You appear to have cloned an empty repository. So the repository that I have created is empty, right? Okay. So whatever the setup I have in GitHub, the complete setup I bought it into my local. So now what the developer needs to do is they need to make the code changes in the local first. Once they are done with the changes, then they will send the code changes to GitHub. It is fine, right? Okay. Now I am inside which directory? If you do the PWD, you will be able to see this. Now what I will do is I will navigate to the folder that I have just cloned right now. So CD space Kia. Right now I am inside Kia. Forget about this main. We will discuss later. Do you have any files in Kia? No. Now what I will do is, so this is an empty repository, right? This is an empty repository that I have just created right now. So understand few things. When you want to work with Git, first is there are 4 steps inside it. Once you cloned it, what is the next step? Git add, git commit, git push. Add, commit, push. These are predefined steps. Adding, committing, and pushing. Okay. So let me do everything in the local first. So this is my repository that I have cloned from the remote to the, whenever I say remote, that means GitHub. And whenever I say local, that means my local system. I have cloned the repository from GitHub to the local system. Now I want to create some files. How can I create the files? So how can you create a file? What is the command to create a file? Space. Let's make it as something called HYD. HYD is the file name. create it. I just created it, verify it. So inside which folder you have created Kia, right? Inside that you have created a file called HYD. Now I want Git to track this. I want why we use Git. Git is a version control system. What it does the tracking. So whatever I do inside the repository, if Git wants to track it, then I need to say everything to the Git. So add this, remove this. Once if I say it to the Git, then Git will track it. Otherwise, it won't track it. Now I have added one file. I have just created one file, right? I want this file to be tracked by Git. What I need to do is git add. What is the file that you have added? HYD. So this file is added to the Git or not? This is what I have a doubt. Now I want to know whether this file is added to the Git or not. Can you check the status? Yes. By using a command called git status, you can check whether this file is added to the Git or not. Yes. If it is showing in green color, that means Git is tracking it. That's why we call these green colors, like once the files are added to the Git, then we say it as tracked files. Okay. Now I have created one file and I added it to the Git, right? So that's why it is showing it as tracked file. Green, whatever you see in the green color, it is a tracked file. I have doubt. I will create one more file. How can you create a file? Fetch. I'll keep it as Bangalore. I created Bangalore file. I'm not going to add it to the Git. I want to directly see the status. Git status. See this HYD is a file that you have added to the Git. So that's why Git is tracking it. And Bangalore is a file that you have created recently and you have not added it to the Git. So that's why it is showing as untracked files. So Git is not going to track these changes. It will track only HYD changes. Okay. Now I want to add that Bangalore file also. Git add Bangalore. I added it. Now I want to verify whether it is added or not. What is the command? Git status. Git commands will start with Git. Whatever the Git command that you want to use, all the commands will start with Git only. What do you want to see? The status. So these two new files are added or not? Yes, it is added. So once this is added, what is the next step? Committing. Okay. I want to commit these two files. Git commit hyphen m. Hyphen m stands for message. What kind of message you want to give? I am just saving these two files just for my practice. Why I am writing like this? Even after 1 year or 2 years, if these two files are there inside your repository and you want to know why these two files are here. So by looking into the message, I can say that, okay, it is just for my practice, I added these two files. So it is for your better understanding. You can write it on your own custom message. I committed it. After the committing, what is the next step? Push. Pull means, so that means get all the changes. Push means send all the changes. Okay. Now I want to do git push. If I do this, what happens? See, permissions to this is denied to this person. See, in my laptop it is giving me the problem, but when you are trying to do this problem won't occur. Why? Because the repository that I have cloned was Sanjay, and if you see, it is denied to Rasul. Understood? Somewhere the username is stored. So where does that username or password is stored is, go to your Windows, go to credential manager. In the credential manager, it's Windows credential. Let's go to Windows credentials, and here GitHub is there, right? www.github.com. So browse this. See, the username is Rasul Sheikh. So it just saved this username and password. That's why it is taking this username and password. I don't want to use this, so that's why I will remove this. In your laptops, you're not going to log in with multiple usernames, right? So you won't get this problem. So cancel this. So again what I want to do is, again I want to do the push. Now see what it will do. See, it is asking me my GitHub username and password, right? So now I need to log in with my browser. So just sign in with your browser, and whoever is logged in within this browser, it is going to take them to that account. I have logged in this browser with my Sanjay account, right? So that's why it is authorizing with Sanjay account. So authorize Git credential manager and confirm the password. So I think we have created some password. I think this one, right? So when you are doing the copy paste, please make sure that, okay, right now I have version 80, 1 to 3, right? I just kept one space. Now try to copy. Whether space is also included in this or not. So when you are trying to do this copy paste, make sure that you copy without spaces. Copy and paste the password. So now see this. Some network issue. And let's see whether the changes are here or not. Just refresh. See, these two files are here, right? So I am a developer. First, what I have done was I took this complete setup into my local and I added some files and then I pushed it to the repository which is in the GitHub. And if you see, this is the message, right? That is what I have written. Just for my practice, I have added these two files. And which person has modified this? If you see here, Mahesh. How come it is taking as Mahesh? Let's consider in a real time. This is the original Kriya project. Are you the only one developer who is going to work on the single project? No, there will be a number of developers. So each and every time when they try to push the changes, it needs to take your name or their name? Their name. So whoever tries to modify the change, it needs to go with their name. In this case, how Mahesh was taken? In my local laptop, I have mentioned the username as Mahesh. So that's why it has taken Mahesh and it tried to push. It tried to push and we are able to see Mahesh as the username. I want to change this from Mahesh to Ramesh. Let's consider I'm a new developer and I have cloned and everything. I need to set my username and user email ID first. How can we set the username and user email ID? So if you go to Git commands, first itself you will be having a configuration, Git config. So if you go down here, you will get the practical thing. Okay. So first use this. See what they are doing. I am going to set my username as something, and also my user email ID is something. So copy this. Once you copy this and go back to the Git bash, just clear it and insert it. If you want to copy and paste, you need to do Shift plus Insert. If insert is not there for you, then you need to right click and paste it. Control V is not going to work. I'll show you. I already copied that, right? If you do Control V, it is not going to work. You need to do either Shift Insert or right click and do that pasting. So what I'll do is I'll just delete all this and do right click and paste it. Okay. Instead of name, what I will write? I will write my name. I'm going to write my name as Ramesh. And whatever the command that you copied, you just change the name and hit enter. And see, there is an error. Why? Because here you are able to see one single hyphen, right? Actually, it is double hyphen. Actually, it is double hyphen, but in the website they have given this as a single hyphen. I'll show you. I am saying that it is a double hyphen, right? Instead of hyphen, keep it double hyphen. Enter. See, is it error or it has taken? It has taken. After that, what is the next thing that I need to do? Email address. Go to Git bash and do the shift insert. Instead of email address, I can write something as ramesh@gmail.com. And in the place of global, it's double hyphen. So now I have set my username and user email ID as Ramesh, right? Now I will try to add some files and again I will push whether it will show me Ramesh or not. This is what I need to find. Okay. How to create a file? Push. And I'm going to make it as Pune. It is created or not? It is created. Did I add this to Git? I have a doubt whether I added this to the Git or not. How can you find out? Git. I want to find out whether it is added or not. See, it is not added. That's why it is not tracking it. So I want to add it. Let's consider there is a scenario. I have created 100 files. 100 files I cannot add git add file name, git add file 2, git add file 3. I cannot add 100 times, right? So what is the better option for that? So use dot. Dot stands for current directory. So right now I'm in which folder? Kia folder. In this folder only I have added how many files? One file. Let's consider 100 files I added in this folder. So instead of giving the 100 file names, I will just represent dot. Dot stands for your current directory. What is my current directory? Kia. I have a doubt whether it is added or not. How can you check it? Git status. It is added. Once after adding, what is the next step? Committing. Git commit hyphen m. Change the name to Ramesh. Change the name to Ramesh. This is my custom message. Whatever I want to write, I can write. I just committed it. And what is the next step? Push. Now is it going to ask me the password, user ID or password or not? Tell me. In your laptops, it won't ask you. It is going to have for only one time process. If you do the git push and see what happens, it hasn't asked me for a password. So directly it says that it is done. Okay. Now I want to verify right whether it is pushed the changes to the remote or not. Go back to the git bash and GitHub and again refresh this page. And I'm able to see the Pune file here. Who made this Pune file? Ramesh. Like this, in real time what happens was there will be 10 developers. Those 10 developers needs to set their username first. So once they set their username, then only they will be able to push the changes. Once they push it, here we are able to find out who made the recent changes, what they added. All these things we will be able to track it or not. Yes, we are able to track it. As of now, how many commands we have seen? To get the complete setup from the remote to the local, we have used cloning. Cloning means a copy. And then once after cloning, I made some changes. And what is the first git command that I have used? Git add. After that, commit. After that, push. As of now, I have used 4. And what is the one more command to check the status? Git status. 5 commands I have used out of 20. And see, I have cloned this repository in the morning, 9 o'clock. Am I directly connected to this repository online or it will be offline? Directly, I will be completely connected to the repository online or offline. What do you think? When you say like, okay, somebody make changes here. If somebody directly comes here and they make the changes here, am I going to directly get the changes in my local also? Or if somebody makes some changes here, until unless I do some command, then only I'm going to get. Let's see. I have cloned the repository at 9 a.m. So I have these 3 files, and if you see in my local also, I have 3 files. So during 10 a.m., a new developer came, and they have added some file here itself. I'm going to create a file called, so I'm going to make it as Mumbai. I'm not writing any information into the file, directly committing the file. Now, how many files we have here? Four files. Whether the Mumbai file will be available in my local system or not. What do you think? If I do the ls, it is not going to be available because it is not online connected. It's an offline one. So when you are cloning, you are just taking the copy of that repository at that time itself. It is not going to be connected always. Okay, now I don't have that Mumbai file here. I want to get that Mumbai file. What you can do? You need to use a command from git pull. So once if you do the git pull, see one new Mumbai file was there that is newly changed and they have inserted. That means one new file was created. So whenever I do the pull, what happens? It is going to get the changes from the remote to the local. So it is going to compare how many files are there in your local and how many files are there in the remote. Already three files are there. These three files, the three files are there in the remote. Except that how many changes are there? One file that is there in the remote. So bring that change here. Understood? So like this, I will be able to pull the changes. Now you understood what is the pull and what is the push. To send the changes from my local to the remote, we use push. To get the changes from the remote to the local, we use pull. Okay. Now one more command. So I have four files, and in my local system also I have four files. Somebody is going to change the HYD file in the remote itself. So in the GitHub itself, they are trying to make some code change in the remote itself. They are going to write this is Hyderabad. They have written this and they committed the changes. So they have written this and they committed the changes. Whether this change will be available in my local system or not. No. Why?
Is off.
After somebody has changed, you haven't pulled those change. Okay. So first I want to see inside HYD file what I have. How can you print the information in a file? Cat. Do you have any information? No. If I do the git pull, see what happens. So somebody has modified which file? HYD file, right? So recently HYD file got changed. So if you see, it is trying to compare your local files with the remote files. And when it is compared, how many files are changed? Only one file. So that's why it is able to get the one file change. And once you done the pull, see the file again, cat space HID. You are able to get that change in your local system, right? Is it getting confused, or if you want me to go slow, I'll go slow. Okay. I want to add some more files in my local system. I want to add some more files in my local system and then I want to push it again. So this is HYD, this is in the HYD file. When I cloned it or when I pulled it, I'm able to, this is Hyderabad. Instead of Hyderabad, I will keep it Secunderabad. Okay. What I will do is, so just clear the screen. I want to edit the file called HYD. What is the editor? VI. Now you understood right why we are using the Linux commands. VI space HYD. So this is what the information in the HYD file. I'm going to insert something. That's why I'm going to press I. Instead of Hyderabad, I'll just remove this and keep it as Secunderabad. I want to save this escape colon WQ, write and quit. So I just saved my changes in my where local system. If you just go here and if you refresh this, are you going to get the changes here? No, because you haven't pushed it. Okay. Before pushing, I just want to show you something. So HYD file was there in your local. So you just modified it, right? You just modified it. Did you say anything to the Git that I have modified this file? No. So see what Git thinks it is. What Git thinks it is, Git thinks that somebody has modified H5D file and they have not added it to me. So that's why I won't track it. So at that time, what you need to do? You need to add this file. So that's why git add dot. Dot means current directory. Once you added this, what is the next step? Commit. So changing the content in file. You can write anything. I committed it. After the commit, what I need to do? Push. Now push the changes. And you can see that it is done. Now just refresh this file. You are able to see your changes here, right? So even if you modify anything in your local system, so Git what it will understand is somebody has modified something. They need to add this file to the Git, otherwise it won't track it. So that's why what I have done was I have modified it and added it to the Git and committed it, and again I pushed it. Okay, till this point it is fine. Now let's go to the top 20 Git commands. Try to practice till this point because these are very important. So once if you practice, then only you will understand. Otherwise, you won't be able to understand. And I'll show you one more command. So each and every time you are making some changes into these files, right? So somewhere in the history, I will be able to see what files are changed at what time, right? So Git is a tracking, right? So if you go to these commits, you will be able to see the number of commits that everybody made. So Ramesh just created, so that just committed last 18 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, last 1 minute ago, who changed it? Ramesh. Ramesh committed one file. So each and every time they commit, what it will give me? A ID. I am able to see all the IDs here. Is it possible for me to see all the IDs in my local system? So let's see. Now I want to know the commit IDs. By using git log, you will be able to find all the commit IDs. So here, if you see, who is the author? Ramesh. And when did he make the change? This time. And what is the custom message that he has written? This one. And if you see here, you are able to see the commit ID as something like this one. But there in the user interface, it shows something like this one, right? So just compare. 1AF88EC, right? 1AF88EC. So this is the one, right? So even if you click on that particular commit ID, see, it will give you the complete commit ID. FD3 ends with FD3. See, so it is the same commit IDs. Till this point, any doubt? No, right? Okay, so let's go to the documentation and we'll see. We have used git config and we have also used clone, and then we added the files to the git and we committed it. And after that, we have seen whether the files are added to the git or not. And then by using a git commit git log, I'm able to find the commit IDs, and then I'm able to push and pull, right? So you have covered 8 commands in this: add, commit, push, clone, pull, status, config. All these things I am able to see. So, and I'm going to tell you one more thing. So right now you just entered git log, right? So am I? Is it giving me the command prompt? No, I'm still in the same page. If you do enter C, it is giving me still this one. If you want to come out of this, what you can do is you need to press Q. Q stands for quit. Then only you will be able to see the next commit. Like the terminal comes for you. Okay. Let's see how many files I have. 4 files. In the remote, so go back to, okay, go back to this and refresh the file. I am also having 4 files. Now what I'll do is I'll just remove one file. How can you remove a file? RM. You can use RF also, right? Recursively and cursively. And what file I want to delete is I want to delete Pune. I deleted it. So only three files. So what Git will understand, somebody deleted one file and they have not added it to me till now. So what is the status that you are going to think? It will be in green color or red color? Green. So somebody deleted a file called Pune and they have not added it to me. So what I will do is git add dot. And once if you add the status, once if you add the file, then you will be able to see, yes, it is deleted. And after that, once after adding, I need to do commit. So here you can write anything, deleting something like this, I can write. But what I will do is I'll write randomly because each and every time if I want to give a message in a meaningful way, that's taking a lot of time. So just committed it and then do the push. Now tell me whether Pune will be deleted here or not. Okay, so let's see. So it has pushed done. Now just refreshes. See, Pune is deleted. So it is going to compare your local changes with the remote changes always. So whatever you do, and once if you push it, so that particular file will be getting deleted. Okay. So try to practice till these